I have a L110 Riding Mower with about 500 hours. I'm having throttle issues. The engine either runs wide open or low power idle. Linkage all seems to be connected and working. Any thoughts?
Hi there, my name is XXXXXX I'm happy to help with your question today. I'm gonna need to ask you a few troubleshoot questions to determine what the problem may or may not be. I hope this is okay and that you have some time to spend with me to do this. If you don't, please let me know before we continue. Is this with or without the choke on? Has the mower been stored away right before this happened? Thanks, Richard.
No sir, I've mowed with it several times. Choke is not on when problems.
IA Randy. Spark plugs are cheap, so let's replace it first. If you turn the choke on at mid-range, different levels of choke, does it smooth out at mid-range with the choke applied? Site guidelines require that I post all troubleshooting steps or partial answers as answers, but this may not be the final answer. Additional troubleshooting may be required. So please hold off on rating until we determine the exact problem. If this doesn't solve it, or if you need additional assistance in applying this answer to your specific situation, please use the reply to expert link so we can continue the discussion. Thanks, Richard. Thanks, Richard.
Richard, no sir. Any position on coke and it chokes out as you would expect. Whatever speed the engine is running, fast or slow, doesn't vary by moving the throttle lever until you put it in the choke position, then, again, it chokes out. I'm a little lost on your spark plug suggestion. If the problem wasn't fast engine one time then slow engine the next, that might sound more like fire. So far I'm not satisfied at all with your help, sorry.
Hey Randy. I wasn't saying that the spark plug would fix the problem, however it does need inspected. Let's move past the spark plug. I don't think your problem is there, but I like to replace all spark plugs when there is engine trouble. They're cheap. Smile again. The correct gap in firing is within the plug as well. I wouldn't think that it's spark related either, since idle is fine and high position is fine. I think your problem lies within the carburetor or governor. You can bypass the governor by moving the throttle plate manually at the carburetor. If you came to the shop with this same issue, I would start cleaning your carburetor to eliminate it. You're gonna need to remove it, disassemble it and clean it out. Soaking it in carburetor cleaner, spraying each passage is the best way. Let me know your thoughts. Think fuel though. Thanks, Richard. Richard 41453.849971432. Randy. If you would like to speak to another expert here at Just Answer, I can opt out. That's not a problem, I just want you to be satisfied. I hope you understand this. Thanks, Richard.
I'm good with you, but that's your call.
Yay, Randy. Let me stop here and go back. I reread your question and I misunderstood it at first. I thought you were saying that UHD problems at mid-range. Seems like you're saying that the engine runs at wide open throttle or either runs at an idle, no matter where the throttle is. Is that right? Richard 41453.86578488843. Yay, Randy. Let me stop here and go back. I reread your question and I misunderstood it at first. I thought you were saying that you had problems at mid-range. Seems like you're saying that the engine runs at wide open throttle or either runs at an idle, no matter where the throttle is. Is that right? I'm gonna need to ask you a few questions to determine the cause on that one. I do apologize. If you throttle up on the mower to full throttle, does it seem to do the same thing? So is the engine RPM fluctuating high to low at full throttle? So the engine RPMs are fluctuating from high to low. If you throttle up, and throttle back down, does it seem to stay at high throttle and take a while to go back to idle? If you're idle, does the engine RPM seem to fluctuate? Different issue, or are you saying that while mowing with blades engaged that the mower loses power and then when you disengage blades that the engine continues to run smooth? There is a few issues that will cause the above. Let me know in detail what's going on. Richard 41453.8719204398.
Getting my replies, or has your system crashed?
Hey Randy. I haven't got a reply back from you. Can you reason that please? Thanks Richard.
Throttle up or down, engine speed remains the same. Blades engaged, loads it up a little and RPM drops slightly as usual. The engine runs at constant speed, fast or slow, regardless of moving the throttle lever. If I went to crank it now, it would probably be at the fast speed, as that is what happens more often than the slow. Fuel solenoid clicks on key turn. Fuel flows on both sides of filter. I check both. Throttle up or down, engine speed remains the same. Blades engaged, loads it up a little and RPM drops slightly as usual.
So throttling from idle to full throttle, there is no change in RPMs? Does the Enigma still run smoothly?
Yes sir, to both.
Hey Randy. Open the throttle to full throttle. Is the throttle plate on the carburetor itself moving? I can post a diagram for you. I need to full model number of mower, same tag as serial number. Now open the throttle to full throttle, move the throttle plate on the carburetor to full throttle. Does the engine speed up now? Also remove the spark plug and then tell me the color of the end of the spark plug. White, brown, black, oily, fuel smell. Thanks Richard.
Okay. Headed to mower.
Thanks Randy. If you move the throttle plate on the mower and the RPMs of the mower do not increase, we have ourselves a problem. If it does, I would suspect a linkage has broken or came off. If it don't move, you will need to look at the butterfly in the carburetor and see if it's moving when you move the throttle. If it is, good. If ain't, we can fix it hopefully. If that throttle plate is moving, the engine is running smooth at idle, there isn't any hard starting when engine is cold, then let me know. Site guidelines require that I post all troubleshooting steps or partial answers as answers, but this may not be the final answer. Additional troubleshooting may be required. So please hold off on rating until we determine the exact problem. If this doesn't solve it, or if you need additional assistance in applying this answer to your specific situation, please use the reply to expert link so we can continue the discussion.
John Deere model L110 serial XXXXXX not sure what the throttle plate is, but there is a spring-loaded lever that connects to the throttle on the side of the motor. Moving the throttle lever doesn't move it much, but if I force it with my finger it causes the motor to rev up.
Part number 16 on the following diagram. When you turn that piece, does the engine rev up? Richard 41453.9347186574.
If I push that part counterclockwise or towards the front of the mower, it revs. But it is incredibly stuff. Moving the throttle lever first seemed to move it.
Hey Randy. The governor on the mower needs to be inspected. If all your linkages are connected, the throttle lever is moving the required parts the way they should be, then there is a governor issue and needs to be inspected. It's hard to push while running because the governor is actually working on the throttle as you are. Site guidelines require that I post all troubleshooting steps or partial answers as answers, but this may not be the final answer. Additional troubleshooting may be required. So please hold off on rating until we determine the exact problem. If this doesn't solve it, or if you need additional assistance in applying this answer to your specific situation, please use the reply to expert link so we can continue the discussion. If you feel the need to click either helped a little or I expected more, please stop and reply to me via the reply or continue conversation button with the issue you have. I will be happy to continue further and do everything I can to provide you with the service you seek. Thanks, Richard.
So you think this is a shop question? My mower is 10 years old. If it is the governor, can you estimate how expensive this might be? I don't want to buy a new mower if this one can be fixed. The deck is so.so. But if it is really expensive, I don't want to invest a lot in an old mower.
The part that confuses me is the initial question stated it runs either full power wide open or at idle. But I think later on you told me that it will not rev up, unless we move the throttle on the carburetor by hand. But, if you're saying that sometimes the engine will open up and rev up, then we're on the right track and the governor should be inspected. Because we proved that manually operating the throttle on TH carburetor, that the engine revs up. It would be cheaper to repair the governor than buy a new mower, especially a John Deere. It will be worth fixing. For replacing the governor, a service manual would be more beneficial to you, rather than someone trying to explain it. If you feel the need to click either helped a little or I expected more, please stop and reply to me via the reply or continue conversation button with the issue you have. I will be happy to continue further and do everything I can to provide you with the service you seek. Thanks, Richard.
Okay, I don't want to quote you to someone else. I just want to get an idea of dollar to replace governor, say a cost if you were doing it in your shop. The engine runs at full speed on starting regardless of where throttle lever is. When I was manually pushing part #XXXXX, it was over revving. But the next time I crank it, it may be running at almost idle speed regardless of where the throttle lever is set. But 9 times out of 10 it will crank and run wide open as soon as the choke is off. So what should I do next?
Check the choke linkage as well. If you have checked linkages and everything is fine there and no binding at all and no linkage is broken, the butterfly isn't broken, then it is the governor, if you can manually move the throttle over to either lower the revs or raise the revs. If the spark plugs are white, then that's another issue, that would indicate a lean condition. Which engine do you have on that mower? I need the model number, type and code of it and brand. Service centers are independently owned businesses that set their own regional service and repair rates. To properly estimate the current price of services and repairs, the equipment must be physically inspected by the service center. But the center can give you a good idea of the cost. Contact them and ask them for an estimate of the repair. To get an amount for the worse, tell them that the governor parts inside of the engine may need to be replaced. If you feel the need to click either helped a little or I expected more, please stop and reply to me via the reply or continue conversation button with the issue you have. I will be happy to continue further and do everything I can to provide you with the service you seek. Thanks Richard 41454.14064591144. Hey Randy. One more thing. Make sure your oil isn't low or overfilled. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay. Let me look at it some more tomorrow, then I'll close this session out. You may or may not have identified the problem, but you stuck with it today, and I do appreciate that. I was hoping it would be something small that I was missing out of ignorance. Smile.
Hey Randy. An intake leak would cause the mower to rev high as well. These can be found by using soapy water, contact cleaner or carburetor cleaner. Spray it around the carburetor gaskets and the cylinder head as well. If the RPMs change, then there is a leak. The plugs would be burning white as well. So check your linkages binding or broken, butterfly to make sure it's closing and opening, choke to make sure the choke isn't sticking, gasket leak, color of spark plugs, and manually open and close the butterfly on the carburetor. Make sure your oil level isn't low or high. Your air filter should be in place as well. If you feel the need to click either helped a little or I expected more, please stop and reply to me via the reply or continue conversation button with the issue you have. I will be happy to continue further and do everything I can to provide you with the service you seek. Thanks Richard. Hey Randy. I had some extra time on my hands. I went back and read over our conversation. As I understand it, when stating the mower up, with throttle in idle position, the motor may rev to high RPMs and may not, but 9 times out of 10 if you start the mower up in lowest throttle position the engine seems to rev up, no matter what you do. Since we've covered that the RPMs do increase if you force the throttle to the highest RPMs, that the engine will rev up. Now next time you start that mower in the lowest throttle position, slow, and the Enigma seems to be at high throttle, manually rotate the carburetor throttle slide back to idle so that it don't rev so high. So what you're doing here is manually working the carburetor. Now let me know if the RPMs decreased or went back to idle while manually rotating it back to idle. If the mower at this point idles down, then I am on track with you. If it don't, then I will take a different approach. Thanks Richard.
Richard, answer me back so I can rate you. After talking with John Deere technician, I do believe the problem is the governor coming apart internally. I was dinking with it this morning and thought knee had blown the engine, it was revving so high. Answer me back so I can rate you and complete this session.
Hey Randy. You should be able to rate me now. If you can't, let me know. Thanks Richard.
If you have a home improvement or appliance question and want to chat with an expert now, visit justanswer.com/ythi.